Trump posted an AI meme of himself holding a gun, captioned, "No more Mr. Nice Guy," aimed at Iran. That's diplomacy in 2026. And while that meme was circulating, jet fuel was running out across Europe. The UAE was quitting OPEC, and Marines were rappelling onto cargo ships in the middle of the Arabian Sea. No cap, this is what's actually happening right now. Hello and welcome. I am Rick Orban. And you have started watching The Truth Global. Alright, so here's the thing. Right now, about 1/5 of the world's oil is stuck. Just stuck. The Strait of Hormuz, that narrow ribbon of water between Iran and Oman, is effectively closed, and the ripple effects are showing up everywhere. Your flights are getting more expensive. European airports are staring down a jet fuel crisis. A 50-year-old oil cartel just fell apart, and the man holding the key to all of it posted an AI-generated meme of himself holding a gun. Yeah, that's where we are. Trump just rejected Iran's latest proposal to reopen the strait. And if you think this is just another Middle East standoff that won't affect you, stick around, because the next 8 minutes are going to change how you see the next 6 months. Drop a comment if you think Iran will blink first or if Trump will. Let's get into it. So let's back up. Back on February 28, the US and Israel launched what Trump called major combat operations against Iran, targeting military sites, government infrastructure, the works. A ceasefire followed, and then, while that ceasefire was still technically active, Trump dropped a naval blockade on Iranian ports on April 13. Classic Trump move. Negotiate with one hand, strangle with the other. Iran responded the only way it could, by shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. And now you've got this weird standoff. Iran says, lift the blockade, we'll open the strait. Trump says, open the strait and give me a nuclear deal. Neither side is budging. Here's what Trump actually told Axios in a phone interview, and I'm not paraphrasing this lightly. He said the blockade is, quote, somewhat more effective than the bombing, and that Iran is choking like a stuffed pig. So that's the temperature of this negotiation right now. The CENTCOM has a plan ready, described as a short and powerful wave of airstrikes, just in case talking fails entirely. Trump hasn't ordered it yet, but the option is very much on the table. Now, Iran isn't just sitting there doing nothing. They sent a proposal through Pakistan, which has been playing mediator, and it's actually not a crazy offer on its face. Open the strait, end the war, lift the blockade, but keep nuclear talks for later. Sounds reasonable? Well, Marco Rubio said it was better than expected, but immediately questioned Iran's intentions. The Wall Street Journal reported Trump was straight up unhappy with it. And here's the core problem Washington has with this offer. The nuclear issue is the leverage. If you lift the blockade without locking down nukes, you've given Iran everything and gotten nothing guaranteed. Iranian FM Arachi flew into Islamabad twice over the weekend. Kushner and Witkoff were supposed to meet him there. Then Trump canceled it last minute, posting on Truth Social. Too much time wasted on traveling. Too much work. Cool diplomacy. Meanwhile, the US naval presence keeps escalating. At least 39 vessels have been redirected or released under the blockade enforcement operations, and more confrontations are coming. This was not happening in isolation. On April 28th, just yesterday, US Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit rappelled from helicopters onto a container ship called the MV Blue Star 3 in the Arabian Sea. They boarded it, searched it, found no Iran-bound cargo, and let it go. Clean. This is blockade enforcement in real time. But before that, on April 19th, the US had already shown it would use actual force. The guided missile destroyer USS Spruance fired on an Iranian-flagged cargo ship, the MV Tuska, disabling its engine after 6 hours of warnings. Then Marines rappelled aboard and seized it. Iran called it maritime piracy. Trump posted about it like it was a highlight reel. At the same time, a Russian oligarch's super yacht somehow got through the blockade last Friday, flying a Russian flag. That detail is quietly embarrassing for Washington, and a reminder that enforcement at this scale has gaps. Elsewhere, and this is where things connect in a way that most people are missing, the UAE just dropped a bombshell. On April 28th, Abu Dhabi announced it is leaving OPEC and OPEC Plus effective May 1st. 50 plus years of membership, gone. On the surface, it's framed as an economic strategy move, but read the subtext. The UAE has been absorbing Iranian missile strikes largely alone. They're angry. They feel let down by their Gulf neighbors. Their diplomat literally said that the Gulf states' position has been the weakest historically. So what does this actually mean? The UAE produces around 3 to 3.5 million barrels a day, about 8 to 10% of OPEC's output. Free from quotas, it can ramp toward its 5 million BPD capacity. One analyst from Rystad Energy said a structurally weaker OPEC will find it increasingly difficult to calibrate supply and stabilize prices. That's analyst speak for oil price chaos is incoming. And here's the China angle nobody's talking about loudly enough. With the dollar's share of global reserves already at a 25-year low of around 57%, analysts at Deutsche Bank are warning this conflict could accelerate the rise of the petro-yuan. China's CIPS payment system just hit a record single-day volume of 1.22 trillion yuan in March 2026. This isn't theoretical anymore. This is where it gets personal. The IATA, that's the International Air Transport Association, representing 360 airlines worldwide, has formally warned of jet fuel shortages coming this summer. The IATA chief, Willie Walsh, said Asia gets hit first, then Europe, then Africa and Latin America. Here are the numbers, and they are not pretty. Jet fuel prices have roughly doubled since the war began. Over 20% of global seaborne jet fuel passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and zero of that is getting through right now. European countries, in some cases, have less than 20 days of jet fuel coverage. The IEA said Europe has maybe 6 weeks. Lufthansa is already cutting short-haul routes. KLM axed 160 flights in May alone. United Airlines has cut 5% of its planned schedule over the next 6 months. Delta says it could spend an extra $2 billion on fuel this year. And United is projecting a possible additional $11 billion hit. That money has to come from somewhere. It comes from your ticket prices. The IEA's Fatih Birol put it bluntly, this is the world's largest energy crisis. And even if the Strait reopened today, airlines and analysts say recovery in jet fuel supply could take months. Here's something that should be making louder headlines. Ipsos, one of the biggest polling firms on the planet, just released a survey of 31 countries, 22,000 plus people. The number? 81% of people globally think their country should stay out of the Iran war. And that includes Americans. 71% of US respondents, including 79% of Americans aged 18 to 34, think the US shouldn't be militarily involved. The only country where a majority supports the conflict? Israel, at 58%. The soft power damage is also real. In 27 of 29 countries surveyed, fewer people now think the US will have a positive global impact in the next decade. And for the first time, more people globally, 50%, think China will have a positive impact on the world versus just 39% for the US. Silver Bulletin's polling average has net support for the war at negative 15.2 points domestically, with some polls showing it as low as negative 27. This is the long game consequence that war hawks rarely account for. You can win militarily and lose geopolitically. So let's zoom out and put all of this together, because this isn't 5 separate stories, it's one story. A military confrontation has turned into a global economic choke point. The Strait closure is crumbling OPEC, threatening the petrodollar, grounding airlines, and fueling public anger in every country that's watching their energy bills explode. Pakistan is acting as a mediator. China is quietly gaining currency, literally. Iran is delivering oil by rail because its tankers can't move. And a Russian oligarch's yacht just casually sailed through the blockade. The next 30 days are going to be critical. Iran has until Friday to deliver a revised proposal. Trump has CENTCOM strike plans ready. Brent crude is at $116 a barrel and climbing. And 81% of the world just wants this to stop. Will diplomacy hold, or are we about to see a second wave of military action? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you found this breakdown useful, smash that like button and subscribe. We track this stuff every single day, so you don't have to.